Oh wow. Glad to be back. Wait for my guests to join. The network has been horrible tonight, but we're back. We're back. Oh my. Okay. Thank you for joining back. Thank you. Trying to make the best of this. Accepted. Okay. Join back some. Okay. Great. Thank you for joining. Oh, thanks for joining. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Tito,
you.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Network. You know, you just
Network
pick some
is
days.
a bit of a nightmare.
Network. Well, we're back. The devil is a liar. We finished it.
Yes,
Yes,
we
sir.
must.
Yeah. So, where were we? We're
We're
talking
talking
about
about transferred aggression.
transferred aggression. Yes, and I was explaining to Mr. Chidi how this lady eventually gets her turn in the guy's house, has a baby, and of course, pattern continued. After her baby, she was thrown out too. Because I've never understood how she ever thought that she would be the one to change
Yeah.
him. So she was found out too. And then, hey, the way she beats the child,
I mean, no, I mean that's
it's
yeah.
it's like you will pay for your father's sins.
That's totally wrong because as I was explaining to Tito, it's not the child's fault. The child didn't ask to be
Absolutely,
born. The
absolutely,
child was born as a result of two people coming together, adult decision. So you don't take
yeah.
your anger out on the child, and you need to look for your an outlet for your own aggression. But also, I was saying, going back to the very beginning, why would you want to go out with someone or have a child with someone who's got 5 children already? What makes you think you're going to be special? What makes you think you're going to be the one to be able to change that man? You know he's got a track record of having children with different women. So why would you want to have anything to do with such a person? So
That's the $1 billion question.
yeah, so the woman
Even
has to take responsibility.
that's the $1 billion question. But well, for the
Well,
purposes of today's conversation,
mm,
we let it slide because we want to focus on, on
yeah,
children. You
yeah.
know, we still
So
have something on singles, choices, and
yeah,
dating because these are
yeah,
things really to examine. Because you
of
find out
course.
that it's not even about being literate
Mm,
or illiteracy or being poor or poverty. It happens to so many people that you would think
yeah,
should have known
Would
better.
know better.
yeah.
Exactly. So, like I said, that's a whole topic on its own.
On its own, yeah.
Yes.
But
That
but
day I
but
need these mamas to come and fight me here. That's
But
fine.
having said that, there is no room for transferred aggression on children. The adults need to own their emotions. They need to own whatever issues they're dealing with. They need to own it and look for help. Seek support. Don't take it out on the child or the children.
Yeah, because I mean, I recall, it can be, I mean, I've experienced, even though I'm not a single parent, I
Mm,
recall as a baby, maybe she was like 7 or 8 months, she
mm.
kept crying. I gave her food. She didn't want. I backed her, I sang, I did also. She didn't want. I was mad. I was so upset. And I lived with the combo with my mother-in-law. So I think hearing the constant cries was, by then I had it up to here. So she knocked on my small gate, and was like, the minute she opened the gate, I didn't have it. I just took the baby and gave it to her. Take your baby. I will not allow her to run me crazy. Just take your baby. And I closed my gate, and she quietly carried the baby. Whatever she did to her, I used to do the At that point, I was going crazy, you know.
I
But
can
so
imagine.
you can imagine if it's somebody that had nobody to give that baby to at that point in time.
Yeah.
You know?
So you can appreciate what some single parents go through with one or two children, or even more. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. There was a comment that missed out. I missed out the comment from Olumiwa says healing from trauma is underestimated and undervalued.
True.
We don't speak enough about it.
True.
True, I agree. And I also feel it's because we live in a society, our society, where you're just expected to get over it.
And to get on with it.
You get on with it. Even those who will come and cancel you, we tell you, don't worry, another one will come. You know, they don't have the depth, the understanding of what you have gone through.
Yeah.
And then we also don't have the culture of going for therapy.
Yeah.
Here in Africa, if you're going for therapy, they say, you have madness. If you know the challenge I have with having people come and pay for counseling, it is almost, some people will call me and say, I just want to tell. I say, you can't, there's a process, for you to get my time. And then they get upset. Now all I just want to do is talk. Fine. But if I keep listening to everybody who just wants to talk, I will be leading somebody.
Yeah.
Quickly too. Do you get it? So, and I do agree completely with that. And I think the society, we need to change about that. Even in the case of maybe adult children, I feel even children who have to deal with loss, because even in the case of loss, whichever it is, death, separation, divorce, it's a loss of some form. In a society, they will come, those who are a bit kind will greet the partner, but they just expect that the children, they'll get on with it, you know. It's I think that's part of the trauma.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think after in our society, we're not used to speaking about our emotions and our feelings, which is sad. And as you quite rightly said, people underestimate the impact of separation and divorce on children, even on adults, but more so on children.
Yeah, more so on children.
And if we don't address these issues, sadly, children will grow up, go into relationships, and repeat the same pattern.
Repeat the pattern. Absolutely. Yeah. I have a comment here from Pastor Rai. It says, until we deal with the woundedness in our souls and know the real purpose of therapy, many will remain hurt and in traumatic positions.
Absolutely.
And true. And you see the people you transfer that to are your child or your children, because they are the closest person to you who will probably not talk back. Yeah. For instance, you can't call a friend and be saying the person is, wait. Yeah. What's my own in this matter? Jig.
And again, another example is in domestic violence cases. So children grow up seeing domestic violence, in most cases, where
Yeah.
their father is maltreating the mom, and they think it's
Yeah.
normal. They think it's okay, and then the children grow up,
Absolutely.
get
And they
married, and
continue the
treat the
pattern.
wife. Yes, oh, my father
Yeah.
did it, so it must be okay. And the
Yeah.
mom, so unfortunately, that cycle needs to be broken.
Yeah.
And that's where conversations need to start happening with with our people.
Yeah, and I think we also need, I mean, I'm talking of generally now, whether single parents or not,
Mm.
because next week we're doing solo parenting,
Mm-hmm.
which is different from
What is that?
single parenting.
Pray, explain.
Solo parenting is when you are parenting solo.
Ah.
It appears that you are in a relationship or in a committed relation, but you know
Oh.
you are the one paying the bills. You are
Is
the
it
one.
is it the same thing as married but single?
Married but
But
single. Yeah, yeah.
But this time with children
This is focused
involved.
on parenting. Yes, this is focused on parenting. So next week is going to be explosive too. But these are issues that we face, that
Yeah.
we know people who face, and there
Yeah.
is no avenue to discuss it.
Yeah.
There are no solutions, and that's the reason I mean, we do this,
Yeah.
My husband is my producer, director, all of the
Good.
above.
Good.
That's the reason
Good. That's a
we
good
do this,
partnership.
just to ensure that, and then we also try to get those who, because we are not able to speak on every. It's only God that is all knowing and
Yeah.
all who has experienced, everything. So that's why I'm very particular that when I have a topic, I look for people who have an in-depth knowledge of what an experience,
Yeah.
because experiential knowledge is very different from
Of course.
book knowledge or
Yeah.
head knowledge.
Theoretical. Yeah.
Theoretical knowledge. So you're going through it, the challenges, and then we
Yeah.
can talk about it. And then people can also know that it's okay to talk about it.
Of
If
course.
as a single parent you're
Of
tired, you're exasperated, you have a headache, for
yeah.
heaven's sakes, talk about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
talk
Well,
about
Okay,
it.
I have a question for Mr. Chidi. So
go
how
for
do
it.
you cope with when people, maybe just random people or even family members, criticize your parenting style? How do you react to that?
To be honest, I don't bath an eyelid at all. As long as my children are happy, that's okay. So my communication with my children, my relationship with my children, that's the most important thing to me. And I always make sure that they're happy. And if there are any issues, I resolve with them. So as long as they're happy with my style of parenting, what other people say outside doesn't really matter to me one bit. I don't look at that. My children and my boys and my folk are actually my granddaughter now. She's joined the crew. So as long as they're happy,
Hey, congrats.
yeah. So as
That
long
was
as they're
early at
happy,
23. That's a sharpshooter, like the
ah,
father. Yeah.
he went past me. Me, I started earlier, but my son started earlier.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. So as long as they're happy, then I'm
Yeah.
not really. I'm not really bothered about what people say. No, because
Yeah.
in my house it's just me, my boys, and my granddaughter. So for me, that's my priority. They're happy. I'm happy.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think, well, I don't know, in as much as, yes, it's okay to be focused, but I guess maybe sitting back and taking a look at what has been said, because you can't always discount or dismiss what has been said. It will
Very
actually be
true.
helpful.
That's very true. I accept
Yes.
that the problem with opinions or public opinion or court of public opinion is that it constantly changes. People always have something to say,
Absolutely.
always. But
Absolutely.
I'm the one wearing the shoe. I know my children. I know their strengths, their weaknesses, their vulnerabilities, and everything else. So
Yeah.
I do listen to what people say, but I don't pay much attention to it because I know my children more than, well, as long as they're with my house, more than out in the outside. So that's where
Like you
my
take it with a
judgment
pinch of
is.
salt.
Absolutely. So again, like I said, I have an open relationship with my children. They talk to me, I talk to them. You know, we put our cards on the table and everything. So if there's anything they're not happy about, they will tell me. So for an outsider to come and tell me, that's it. You know, I know when and how to park it.
Okay. I think I like that when you have to pack it.
To pack
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I like that. Because sometimes people do get, they just, if you allow them, it's almost like
Yep.
they walk all over you. They make you
Absolutely, yeah.
even feel inadequate
Yeah.
in the presence of your child. You know,
Yeah.
I recall once, and I know this is, it was just, we have rules in the house. There are movies that my children should not watch until a certain age. The
Yeah.
age, what's that thing called? It's very, we used it in my house. I said, wow, okay, is that movie is 18? Hey, I'm 16 and no, you are not 18. I say, I know, so I won't watch it. And they keep to it.
Yeah.
So I recall, we went to a friend's house, and I think in their house they were showing a movie that I didn't think their own children were there. They were younger than
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And they were said, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to watch this now. We don't have to watch this now. Otherwise you send the children away from here, and it almost became a problem. Okay, we're leaving.
Yeah.
It was almost like we were too, you people's own is too much. I said, no, this is how we parent a child. We will not allow you change that.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, they get strength in criticizing or analyzing or observing other people's children and neglect or forget that they have children themselves. Yeah, so be mindful of such people.
Yeah, so like face your child,
Exactly. You face your own, I face my own. Yeah.
Remove the log in your eyes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But of course, if you see my child doing anything that is not right, bring it to my attention, and I'll have that discussion with my children. That's the way it works. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's so. Okay. So there was an incident a few years back that happened. I wrote something on Facebook, social media, and because we have a not-for-profit charity where we reach out to the needy, and we do that twice a year. So we just reach out to your needy. We don't care your faith, your age, your gender. As long as you're a needy person, you're going to get food and you're going to get clothing for the festive season. So I realized that. And that's our own vision. But I realized that during festive season, it's going to happen soon, that a lot of people are everything, they don't want to give anything out, they look for widows. They look for widows. So I wrote something on social media, I think that was about 3 or 4 years back, that for heaven's sakes, should the person that has left go and kill the person he left so that he can at least go under the umbrella
Of
widows, yes. That there are other single who need help, and
even married.
Even married though. Need help, But I thought it was just too much, and anyway, we won't even go into that. I felt it was just too much, and there should be a balance. You can't just ignore a whole set of people. But then, it was confirmed that it was the prejudices that make that happen, because somebody sent me a message immediately, didn't send it on the Facebook, into my phone, that, hey, that what are you saying? That you want to be encouraging nonsense. I said, all these useless girls that will just go and have babies and then come out there and be expecting everybody else to take care of them. Let them deal with it. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my, but you see, or they would make bad decisions, end up alone, and they want somebody to be, helping. I said, what has that got to do with, what we're
Does that mean if you make a bad decision, you should never be forgiven, or you should not get help or anything?
You know,
It's crazy.
unfortunately, so how do you deal with such, misconceptions or prejudices? And I'm going to ask Tito because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that when people meet you and see your daughter, maybe before they even know your story, they assume the assumptions.
Oh, that
Because,
happens a lot. That
yeah,
happens a lot. Funny enough, I get more attention when I'm with my daughter from the opposite sex because they
okay.
just feel maybe I'm available. There's no ring on my finger or whatever, So
Yeah. If she's
she
done
must
it
be one of
before,
those
let's shoot it
people,
again. Yeah.
something like that. So it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. So, um, but I hear you,
Let's
and
put
I'll
it and
say
done, and
this.
the other person did.
Mm.
Also,
Crazy. But I hear you. But the thing is this, I even have married friends that say to me, maybe when I'm complaining about something, and they say to me, don't feel it's because you're a single parent, because we are going through the same
the
thing.
same
It's
thing.
just
Yes,
that
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
society, because of society's sake, we can't express it the way you're expressing it, because we
Mm.
have to be under this umbrella of marriage, and we
And
can't be seen to be
pretend.
washing our
Mm.
dirty linen in public. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
like they're not going through the same thing, and which is, that solo parenting you were talking about
Yes.
a few minutes
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are really alone, and they don't, for some reason, it's just widows that are
The
but
focus.
really there's a reason why the Bible specifies, because there were single parents even,
Yeah, in the Bible
if you think
times.
about the Samaritan lady, she
Yeah,
had many husbands. I mean, these things have always been
yeah,
around, but there's a reason why. um there is a reason, because especially in our culture, you find that women don't really have, um I don't know how to explain. Women, well, we are finding our voice, but culturally, we've not been able to do certain things that men have been able to do, right? And it's different if you're single and young and all of that. And I know Paul was somewhere in Timothy saying that the young people are not the widows we're talking about. It's the older ones that can't actually do anything for themselves,
Yeah.
right? So when we talk about widows, I don't imagine a young person that is able and capable. I imagine somebody that is
Nice.
alone, literally. Yeah, alone
Alone.
and not able to, and maybe has health issues and can't cope and all of that. I think those are the people that when the Bible talks about widows, those are the sorts of people that were being referred to. But let's just be humane. Let's love one another. Let's even listen
Because the Bible
to
also
what
talks about the
people.
needy, the poor, the needy.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
you can even,
Exactly. So let's even listen.
needy is not necessarily poverty. You may have a need in a particular area that you can't
It might even be
meet.
your
It doesn't
prayers that I
necessarily
need
mean
to
you're
do.
poor.
Yes, it might just be your prayers that I
Yes.
Can I
need,
Yeah.
just can I
right?
sorry?
Because, yeah, carry on.
Can I just add that even I mean, we're talking about widows. I mean, the Bible mentioned widows. That's correct. But if you
Mm,
break down the word widows, widows are also single parents. So it's the same thing. We're talking
mm,
about more or less the same thing. Widows,
mm-hmm.
eventually, widows who have children are single parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's the same. We're still talking about the same thing. And so, unfortunately, a lot in our society, people view single parents mostly in a negative way.
Absolutely. And
They see it as maybe that's their decision, that's their life choice. But again, what they don't fail to realize that sometimes, sadly, some people are single parents because of rape, and they don't recognize that. They don't appreciate that, and they don't make allowance for that. Or they say, single parent, it is your fault. Get on with it, and that's so wrong.
yeah,
So it's
that's so
about
wrong.
Agree.
educating the society of most people, yeah, and saying, look,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's not always a
Absolutely.
matter of choice, and things happen that people become single, and be a little bit more sensitive and more humane about it.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's go to dating.
Yeah.
Dating.
Okay.
How does that work?
Alpha.
Let me tell you a story. I had somebody who swore, who told me she was raised by her father, and she was
Yeah.
like, the man never married, and they never had to have anybody come and play the role of a
Mother.
stepmother
Stepmother.
wannabe in their house or be wicked or be. Now, of course, we're adults now. I mean, both of us. So what I knew and agreed that he went through great lengths to protect his children from whatever relationship he would have had. I mean, heck, let's keep it real. He would
Let's be
have
real.
had, it didn't bring them home. And I think that's created a, a good impression. I'm not sure it's so much of if he had decided he was going to marry somebody else, they would have kicked against it because after being alone for years. But I guess the fact that, because I know some single parents, today is Uncle John, tomorrow is Auntie Janet cooking her best for you,
Jollof rice.
trying to impress, trying to over impress until she comes in. So you find children go through so much trauma.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Because before as they are getting used to Auntie Janet, who is buying them this, buying them that,
Somebody
because
else.
she's a swan now before she becomes when she comes in. Somebody else, it has changed. It's not somebody else again. You're laughing, Tito.
Oh,
That's the
like
truth. That's the
just
reality
Yeah.
of.
yes.
So tell
Share.
me, how does that work?
There's something
Go
I
on.
remembered. One of my friends was saying to me that that if he had a choice between dating a single mom, just a single mom that had never been married, and a widow that has never been married, because a widow has lost her husband. What do you want to do to her? Like, what can you possibly do that will hurt her? Do you understand? So she has no fear. She can live without you. She can do without you. So, but a single mom is more desperate for the umbrella of marriage, and so she'll be willing to take all your crap and all of that. So I just remembered it and I had a good laugh. So anyway, when it comes to dating, I feel I don't introduce to my child anybody that I don't feel is going to be in my life forever. So if I'm introducing her to a guy, that means this person is my friend, and I intend for this person to be my friend forever. It's not a relationship in that regard, right? Do we talk about it? Yes, we do, because I want her to know that it's something that could happen. There's a potential for something like that to happen, for me to get into a long-term relationship, and the possibility of us all living together. We talk about it, but I don't expose her to anything that I am just testing or trying to figure out or any of that. No. If she has met any of my male friends, that means that they are just exactly that, my male friends, and I intend for them to be there, just like my own female friends, as part of my life going forward. So I just don't do the whole exposure thing unnecessarily.
So no waking up in the night and seeing Uncle John wearing boxers around the house.
No, never. She's also, I also have to be careful, because she's a girl. Do you understand?
Yeah,
I have to be very
absolutely.
careful, because
Yeah.
she's a girl, and I don't want her to justify any naughty behavior when she's a teenager. She said, but you used to do this and that. I'm not saying don't do, but you cannot say I used to do anything. You cannot say that. You can't.
Yeah.
you can't. We can discuss it. In fact, as she talks about crushes. She talks to me about things like that, and I encourage you because I want to know, right? And same here. It's not like I don't tell her about things, but I just don't let her see it. So we talk about things, but we don't, I don't expose her to it like physically.
I think it goes back to one of the questions you asked in the beginning. About separation and divorce? Do we have that conversation with children? And it ties back to that, because part of that conversation is letting them know, look, what's happened has happened. It's about moving forward, and sometime in the future, you will decide to have somebody else. So that's why it's important to have that conversation, because it's part of their healing process as well. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happens between you and your ex, it's still the parent or the father, the mother of your child, regardless of whatever happens. So before you introduce somebody else into the family, you need to make sure that you've had that conversation, and it's perhaps closure for the children. If not, you might struggle introducing your new partner to your children if you haven't had that conversation and there hasn't been any healing or conversations with your children. You might struggle with your new partner. So it's important to have them on board from the very beginning, all the way through. But as Tito said, you need to be very careful before you introduce anybody to your family. Be very careful. That should be the last, you should be very last. And when you're only sure that it's going to happen, that's when you do an introduction. If not, just keep them outside.
So as a
I also feel, sorry.
So hold on now. I want to finish this question. As a fine boy, available, rich, how do you cope? How do you cope? Ladies, because I'm sure they come on strong. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure they come up strong. And when a woman feels that she has seen an opening, she will try every trick in the book to slip into that opening. So how do you manage that? Okay, now we want.
Okay, so what I would say at this point in my time, my boys are the ones that they've been protecting me, more or less. Yeah. So at the moment, if I, they're the ones that say to me that, Daddy, no, don't, So, but to be honest, at the moment, I'm not actively seeking. I'm still trying to make sure my boys are settled and they're, doing what they're supposed to do, and my granddaughter and all that. But they're the ones looking after me, is what I would say. They're really looking after me, and they want my best interest. And they're, in one sense, they have been encouraging me to look for someone. They've been pushing me out, but at the same time, they're also guarding me and telling me to be careful, not this one,
Yeah, they know the tricks.
They know, they know,
So for me, my daughter actually, I told you she's a people's person. She's extroverted. She wants more siblings. So she tells me, and then in her prayers, when she's praying, and she does this thing where when she wants me to do something, she says the prayer openly, and then she says things like, "Oh, thank you, God, for my twin brothers and my sister," and so she says it out, and it's a little bit of pressure as well, because. She has all these ideas, and when she sees a baby, it's like, oh my God, a baby! Oh, just like my baby brother is going to be. And I'm like,
hint.
So yes, it's definitely something she wants. But I've tried to explain to her that certain things have to happen before the baby comes,
of course,
and all of that. And she's praying for it. She wants it to happen, but it affects the sort of people I can even consider, because you're not just looking out for what makes you happy. You have to make sure that this will work for her as well.
Of course.
So that even makes the pool that much smaller. because you can't manage anything. There's nothing to be managed. It just has to be what it is, you know, and that takes a lot more time. So,
it's very good that your daughter is actually on board and she's actually looking forward to a sibling. That's one half of the job done. Because you do have some children that, you know, are very possessive of their parent and they don't want anybody else. So
they don't want anything else.
Yeah. So it's good that your daughter's actually looking forward. Yeah.
Perhaps it were two, maybe, but I think because she's the only one.
It's actually, I was not going to talk about that. The fact that she's the only one, puts a lot more pressure on me. Because there's no other person she's bouncing off anything of. There's nobody to say, oh, go and play with this person. It's always me. That means, you know, I'm a lot more drained by the time we finish our encounter every day, because, you know, it's mommy this, mommy that, mommy this, mommy. You know, that is non-stop.
But it goes.
It's slightly more difficult when it's just one child.
But it goes back,
in my opinion.
It goes back to what we said in the beginning about who do you have when you call. It stands for help. Who's in your support network? And it's important to have a support network. So sometimes when you feel a bit drained, you can go to you can take it to your trusted friends or family member to give you a break. So
always a place where there are other kids though, because that's what she wants.
That's good as well.
Exactly.
But as long as you know you have those resources around you, it's very important.
Yes, I do. Yeah. I do. Definitely.
Okay, fantastic. So, as a last word, I just want you to, you know, talk about any best practices that perhaps we haven't, you know, touched on, because you are in it. So also finance. I wanted to talk about finance and I completely forgot about that, because that could be a challenge sometimes. Even those of us in a
double income homes.
It's Jesus that is helping us. So that could be a challenge. So I do know, Tito, that you have so many things going on, you know, and that's good. And I always encourage women especially, because I hear tales of women who are single parents who talk about how they had to do things they didn't think they would ever do just because they wanted to put food on their on the table. Yes, for their child. And while I sympathize with them, I'm a strong believer in multipreneur. Do what it takes, you know, to get there. And I also believe that what you fall back on in terms of making money is actually what you are predisposed to. I'm strongly, because I hear people say, I didn't want to do that, but no. I believe strongly is what it would have been okay by you to do anyway. You know, it's just that now you have an excuse. You have an excuse to do it, you know, or you can fool yourself that it's because of so and so that you're doing it. So if you need to do 10 jobs at the same time, work as a cleaner somewhere, do what, just do it. Just get something going on that can bring in, you know, an income. So Tito, let me allow you to talk about that.
Okay, so honestly, Tino, I'll say I've been incredibly blessed. I was already working. I'd already bought my car. I'd bought several cars even by the time I had married. I was paying my own rent. I was doing my own thing even before, you know, my daughter's dad came into my life and all of that. So I've always kind of had my own thing going on. So it didn't, battery is about to die. Let's see. I've always had my own thing going on, basically. So I've always been a hardworking person. So it's not today that, you know, nothing is going to stop that. And I'm not busy. It's like working hard actually energizes me. I don't know how to explain it, but when I'm not doing anything, it's like everything stops. So I have to be busy. Yeah, I'm that kind of person that just needs activity. I'm a doer. So I've always had something to do. Again, fortunately, family support. I come from a large family, and there's always somebody to call if I
Yeah.
need any financial help. Even, you know, her daddy's family as well, they are very supportive. You know, so I can't really say, oh my God, I'm all by myself. There were a lot of promises that were made, but those were promises, and you
Yeah.
know, a lot of them haven't been kept. But let's just keep that to one side.
Yeah.
Good enough. I don't have that mentality of, oh, you said this, I'm here
And you
because you
haven't
didn't do
done
what you
it.
were supposed to do. No, 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 no. I don't have time for that. And the minute I let all those things go, I felt I was getting more blessings because I was looking to God, who is actually my source, right, to provide for me and my daughter. And that has worked for me. And I don't anybody else. I just know that this people can hear.
Yeah, okay.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So the support is there if I need it, but thank God that I've always looked to Him and Him alone.
Yeah.
Even in my business dealings, I get favor. Sometimes a lot of people that don't know me, when I go to do presentations for my business and all of that, they just help me, and they can't explain why they're helping me. And I've not even told them half of my story. I just, on the basis of what I bring to them, I just get favor from God. And, for me, I just see God's hand. Let's put it that way. It's not, I know I'm not the most eloquent or the most experienced or whatever, but, I tend to get what I go out there to get. So if you work hard, you tend to be more lucky.
Yeah.
But God's hand has been on us over the years.
That's
We're talking
Okay.
about finances, and you talked about best practices. My battery may die soon, so I'll just say that
yeah,
very quickly.
the
What
last
has worked
yeah.
for me is structure, structure, structure. So there is a schedule, there's a routine, there's a, so that everything gets done. I know that because I'm a business person, I go out, I come in, I'm a student, my schedule is all over the place. So I cannot promise to take her anywhere. That means everything that she needs comes to the house after school. There's a school bus that takes her and brings her back, so that if I'm stuck in a meeting, I don't have to start running out to say, oh, I have to pick my kids or anything. So there's just structure. I've just put those structures in place. There's always a nanny. Sometimes there are two, and people are like, one child, why do you need two nannies? But it's because of my own peculiar living circumstance. I don't want a situation whereby one gets crazy and decides to run off. Then
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So sometimes it seems like, oh, why you're going over the top. Again, I told you I'm getting cured. So now I have one nanny, not two. So
It ends now. It doesn't
yeah,
need
so
to
things like that. But it
now.
helps the flow of my structure. It makes sure that everything that is supposed to get done gets done as and when due. And I'm also imbibing the value of time management into my child. So, that structure works for me. That would be my best practice. If I was to give advice,
Okay.
that would just be it. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you
Okay.
so, Tito. Thanks for joining. Thanks. I'm just saying this just in case it goes
The
on.
battery goes. Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
Yes.
Let me
Thank
quickly,
you
let
for
me quick, let me
joining.
quickly say before so that Tito's
Yes.
here with us.
Yeah.
I
Go
think
on.
let me start with best practice. For me, best practice will be being flexible in your parenting approach with your children. Create a
Yeah.
learning environment for your children. If your children do things not to your standard, have an open conversation, criticize them, but constructively. Let them always feel that they can come to you and speak to you and tell you what's on their mind. Because the last thing you want is for them to be doing that outside or speaking to somebody that you're not aware of. So create that learning and loving and caring and nurturing environment for your children. It may mean that you have to be humble enough to just step back, and accept what they're saying to you. Sometimes what they say to you you might not like what they're saying to you, but because it goes against your values and how you brought them up. But bite your tongue, keep all your thoughts in your head and just listen to them. Children, people, even adults, love to be listened. Listen to them, then you give them your advice. Yeah, that's for best practice. And in terms of finances, very important, but always get the balance right. Try not to be, trying to get food on the table at the expense of your children. Don't work too hard and too long that you're neglecting your own children, because it defeats the whole purpose. And that's
Absolutely.
why having a support network around you is very important.
Yeah.
If you do have to work a bit longer, mom's there or friends there, somebody who can look after the children, someone that you can trust is there to look after your children. But it's about getting that balance right. Don't work too hard and forget your children. That's it.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. I can't thank you both enough. And I'm still going to call you some other topic some other time.
No problem. No problem. It's been a lovely session.
I know this. I hope you've had a great time like I did,
Yeah.
and I'm sure those single parents who have watched too would learn a thing or two. Like I said, sadly, or whether we like it or not, every day somebody becomes a single parent.
Absolutely.
Either by design or act of God. So I'll end with this quote by an unknown. Being a single parent is twice the work, twice the stress, and twice the tears, but also twice the hugs, twice the love, and twice the pride. So,
I'll take that.
To you, single parents, as at today, who knows when I call you next week? It's something.
Hey, who knows? I may have an update for you.
Okay.
So thank you so much. God bless you both.
Thank you.
Oh my
Bless you too.
Thank you very much.
Nice meeting you.
Yes, same here.
See you later.
Same here.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.